My guest today is Debra House, who is the, can I say new director of Legal Aid Tennessee. And I'm curious about interviewing you because I feel like you have such insight to the needs of people right here in our area. So first, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Debra, first just tell me a little bit about yourself. Did you always want to be a lawyer? Was that your dream growing up as a little girl?
No, actually I wanted to be a music teacher. Yeah, I grew up in Michigan and I went to college to be in music, and I bombed out spectacularly.
Really?
Yes.
Was it instruments or singing?
I played the oboe.
Oh,
Yeah, and I
okay.
was in the marching band. I was in the flag line in the marching band. And then I was sophomore year in college at Western Michigan University and didn't know where I was going to go. I majored in communications and sociology led to criminology. Did some grad work there, got an interest in the law, and wound up going to law school as a result of that.
I mean, talk about pivoting. That's an incredible pivot.
Yes, it was.
What was law school like for you? Did it come, like once you got started, did you realize like, I'm on the right path?
Yeah, I think so. I was very interested in criminal law and criminal defense, but that's not the path I ultimately took. But it sustained me through law school, that interest.
Your footprint here in East Tennessee is one of poverty law, helping those who don't have the money for an attorney. How did you even get started in that sector?
Well, after I graduated from law school, I needed a job, quite frankly, and didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And I was clerking at a law firm here in Knoxville, and one of the attorneys connected me with the legal aid program down in Cleveland, Tennessee. And I did an interview, and they offered me a job, and this was fresh out of law school, hadn't even passed the bar, and I took the job and just developed a passion for legal aid, and I've been at legal aid my entire career.
What do you all do for those who have never had to use your services?
We provide free legal help to low-income people in a variety of civil legal matters. We don't do any criminal law at all. We're prohibited by federal regulation from doing criminal law. And by low income, I'm talking about 125% of the federal poverty level, which is quite low. So that is our main mission, is to help people who are facing daunting civil legal problems that stand in the way of success in their life.
Is it fulfilling work for you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
What makes you get up in the morning?
Knowing that I'm going to make a difference in someone's life today. Somebody who may not have a glimmer of hope for whatever it may be that they're facing. And we know our entire staff, not just me, all of us, make a difference in the lives of our neighbors here in East Tennessee.
Do you have any cases that really stand out? Or I guess the ones that kind of make you go like, this is why I'm doing this. This is a pivotal moment in my career.
Well, we do a full range of civil legal services, but personally, I started doing domestic violence work very early on, working with victims and survivors to gain protection from the court system, and quite often divorced from their abusive spouse, seeking custody of their children. And that really is what hooked me into this work and helped me to stay long-term, was making the difference for victims and survivors of domestic violence. But we also do a lot of, at this point in time, landlord-tenant work, particularly since the pandemic. There's been, as you know, nationwide, a housing crisis, an eviction crisis, and we have eviction prevention programs here in our office in Chattanooga that helps people stay stably housed.
Oh my gosh. So looking at the work you do, and you talked about domestic violence, what is it that people don't know? They think they know about domestic violence cases or those situations, but you've seen it right there with the victims.
I think one of the big misconceptions is, why doesn't the abused person leave? Why don't they just go? And it's not that simple. They're in a cycle of violence, of power and control, and you can't just exit yourself from that situation without putting yourself in grave danger. We know the most lethal time for a person to leave a domestic violence situation is when they're leaving. That is their highest chance of them being murdered. Also, the abusers use the children, use the pets, use finances, use any number of things to maintain control over the victim. And people don't understand that. They always ask, why doesn't she just leave? And it's not that simple.
Do you ever have a day where you're just like, this is tough? this is tough. I can't, I can't.
Well, every day is tough in its own way, and every day has its rewards. And at my point in my career now, I'm not doing direct representation of clients. I'm administering our program, but I see our staff, particularly our new attorneys, having to deal with that day to day. The challenges, the frustrations, the sadness, whatever it might be every day.
Recently, the first time that I met you actually was at the YWCA Tribute to Women, and you were one of the honorees. And I love the introduction to you where your staff talked about your commitment to this cause. Why are you so committed? Why has this become a passion for you?
Well, it's all I've ever done. And there's so many things you can do with the law. And I've just never had the desire to be in a law firm or to be in the corporate sector. Nonprofit work has always just been my passion as to why. I can't explain why. I guess it's just, like I talked about earlier, the difference I know we make in the lives of people every single day. And where else can you do that? And where else can you use your education and the skills that you've developed to really make a difference for people who are struggling and can't necessarily do it on their own?
How great is the need? Like, what is the demand like for your office?
We estimate we meet about 10 to 20% of the need for low-income people for civil legal problems. And that's consistent nationwide, statewide, and locally. And that's based on research. The Federal Legal Services Corporation has issued what they call a Justice Gap Report, where they have all the data and the statistics to back that up, that we're just not meeting the need. And it's a matter of resources.
What would you say for someone who is thinking about getting into law and they're trying to figure out their path? What advice would you give them?
To follow your heart, follow your passion. But that's easy for me to say, having been in this field for over 30 years. For somebody who is in law school or considering law school, what's important to you? What's in your heart? Where do you think your skills lie? What difference do you want to make? It could very well not be in the nonprofit sector. I mean, very few of us in the legal profession go into nonprofit work.
Why is that?
There are a lot of different reasons. Some people don't have the aptitude or the interest. Some people are very interested in corporate law. They want to represent corporations. Personal injury, criminal law. I mean, there's a whole segment of our profession that focuses on representing people in the criminal arena, either defendants or working for the prosecution, being a district attorney. So there's any number of reasons. One of the reasons that people don't go into public interest law is our pay and our compensation is relatively low compared to other jobs in the legal industry. And people graduate from law school with a huge student loan debt burden.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, and that's huge. If people come out of law school with $100,000 in student loan debt, and immediately once you graduate, you have to start paying that. And we have limited loan forgiveness programs through the Legal Services Corporation and others, but for a lot of people, their priority is to get out of that debt. They may have a family that they can't support on a legal aid salary or other nonprofit salary. They may have other priorities in their life. We talk about the sandwich generation. We have people who are caring for their aging parents as well as their young children, and they have to look at those priorities first and make a decision.
Where do you see yourself going next, or what vision do you have for your career?
Well, my career is in the fall stage, the sunset stage. I'm looking at retiring in the next few years, and I don't know what retirement holds other than absolutely some kind of engagement in the legal field or something else. I'm also very passionate about animals. I'd love to do volunteer work with animals, the Humane Society, whatever that may be. I don't know what the future holds at this point.
I was looking at your bio and some of your community involvement. What have you enjoyed doing most in this community?
In the Knoxville community itself, apart from my actual work, probably being engaged with other nonprofits. I'm on the board of directors of the Knoxville Family Justice Center, which again is a domestic violence related, and our program has an office there, but I really enjoy that board work. I'm involved with the Knoxville Bar Association with their Access to Justice Committee and the Tennessee Bar Association. I sit on the House of Delegates for the TBA, and I really enjoy service to the bar and to our profession. It's another way for me to give back beyond what I do in my day-to-day job.
Do you have a mentor? Or did you have a mentor? I'm pretty sure we're good on mentors right now, but throughout your the start of your career, was there any influence?
I've had so many over the years, it's really hard to say. When I did the interview for the YWCA, for the Tribute to Women, I talked about a particular attorney in town here that I clerked for. His name's John Eldridge. And I mentioned that an attorney connected me with legal aid down in Cleveland. That was John. I clerked at his law firm, and I think he was absolutely a mentor at the time, although I didn't realize it. I think a lot of times your mentors aren't intentional. You don't point to person A and say, I would like you to mentor me. Sometimes it's an intentional relationship, but often it's just very casual and just the way people interact. A prior executive director at Legal Aid of East Tennessee was absolutely a mentor, Dave Yoder. I worked with him for many, many years before he retired.
What do you want people to know about legal aid? What does the community need to know about the services you all provide that maybe would help fill in the gap for some of the needs you all have?
Just what a critical service it is, and the people that we help don't have any place else to turn. They can't go to a private lawyer and pay whatever it might be to represent them in court, the retainer for a divorce, or to defend them in whatever the case may be in court, to help them stay in their homes. They're struggling to pay their rent, let alone they can't pay a lawyer to help them stay in their home. So I think people need to understand the importance of our work and the difference we make in not only to the people in our community, but the community itself. To the extent that we keep people in their homes, we're looking at avoiding homelessness. We're looking at avoiding the cost to our community in serving the homeless population. To the extent we help victims of domestic violence get out of their situation, we're saving law enforcement costs, medical costs, court costs. There's a whole range of impacts to the community, and I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Have you ever finished a case or a case and thought to yourself, like, this one feels good? The person, whatever you fixed in their life in that moment, it was one of those that just kind of stuck with you for the day?
Oh, it stuck with me for the day or for the week or the month, or even longer. And I think the most impactful ones for me is when I have helped people either get custody of their kids back or keep custody of their kids when they've lost it. I've represented a number of parents whose children were in the custody of the state, and when you work through those issues and help them to take the steps they need to get their children back and reunite that family, I think that's some of the most impactful work I've done. And also, I've represented kids who were in state custody, and that is also very gratifying too, because a lot of times those kids are struggling. They've been separated from their family, and they're trying to figure out where they go. And when I serve as guardian ad litem for those kids, I'm in a position to help kind of guide that train a little bit to either reunify the family or determine that that's not possible and help find permanency for those kids.
How has this job shaped your life?
Oh my gosh.
You know?
It's been all-consuming because this is all I've done. I mean, I've got other things in my life, my personal life, but my professional life, this job has it's shaped my life geographically, where I live. I'm in Knoxville now. I didn't used to live in Knoxville because of my job. I am here. It's given me the opportunities to advance in my career and do so many different things at Legal Aid. I've been a staff attorney, I've been a manager, I've been in the development space, and now I'm the director of the program. And my job has absolutely given me those opportunities to advance it. So many people, I don't think, have that opportunity in the careers that they choose.
Has it changed your worldview?
I have not really considered that. I would say it probably has.
Just in terms of the way you see people. I think sometimes until we're exposed to things, we don't truly understand what other people's lives are like. And you have such a unique way of seeing inside people's homes and their struggles.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah, and how you do see people. I think everybody now, I look at, what struggles are they facing, as opposed to what a lot of people look at, meet somebody, oh, that's interesting, what can we do together, what can you do for me, what can I do to help you, and what challenges are you facing in your life, no matter, it could be you, it could be a client, it could be a politician, everybody faces challenges in their lives, and you don't know how those challenges impact them. And I think that my career has given me that kind of opportunity to kind of view others through that lens.
One thing I like about you, when I met you, you're just like, oh, I don't know if I like to do interviews, and I've thought about like at the event where you got your award. Do you like being recognized for the work that you do?
Of course, everybody likes recognition, but I think more than me being recognized personally, it's recognition of, like you said, the work and the people that I serve and the staff that I work with. It's recognition of legal aid more than Debra House personally.
So you've spent your 36 years here. Why have you never left? Why have you made Knoxville home? Why is Knoxville the place you've made your impression?
Well, obviously because my career, that's where my career is right now, but I love Knoxville. I'm a VFL. I graduated from UT, and I will be a proud volunteer for the rest of my life. I love the atmosphere here in Knoxville, the college town atmosphere. I grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It was not a college town. I went to Western Michigan, Kalamazoo, and that is more of a college town. Knoxville is a college town through and through and through. But I also see our bar association here is amazing. We are very collegial. I think people always talk about the Knoxville bar, other from out of town, for instance, they come and they see how well our attorneys get along with each other. Sure, we advocate zealously for our clients, but at the end of the day, we might go out and have a drink or have a cup of coffee in the morning, even though they're on the other side of a case. And that's really impressive too, because a lot of places around the country do not have that kind of collegiality in their bar association.
A little bit more cutthroat, or a little bit more?
Yeah, more cutthroat, just more competitive, more, I don't know. I've never practiced any place other than East Tennessee. So it's hard for me to say personally, it's just what I hear from others.
So you were just talking about, the need in our area. And since you have people who have, either low income to almost no income, how great is the need here in East Tennessee in terms of people who need your services?
I think it's incredibly great. I mean, I don't have numbers off the top of my head, but I know, in East Tennessee, I'm talking about Chattanooga up to the Tri-Cities, the 26 counties that we cover at legal aid. Last year, we closed over 6,000 cases for low-income people, and that whole range that I talked about of civil legal matters, and that's just a fraction of the need. There are a lot of people who don't come to us for various reasons. They don't know about us, for one thing. A lot of people have a sense of hopelessness. They don't think there's anything they can, if they're being evicted, for example, why bother to fight? It's going to happen anyways, and I'm just going to give up. That's a sentiment. Victims of domestic violence, they have to be able to take that first step to get away from their abuser to ever even ask for help. And that's the place the Family Justice Center comes in.
Are you all seeing more cases with the rising cost of rent right now?
Oh my gosh, it's just, yeah. And there's not a lot we can do about the cost of rent. The housing,
Right.
Just housing, the rental stock in our community has gone way down and the price has gone way up because Knoxville is such a desirable place to live. People come here, as you know, from all over because it is such a wonderful community. We have the urban wilderness, which is very appealing to people who like the outdoors. We have the university for people who are into that academic setting. But that has, particularly since the pandemic, raised not only the price of rent, but the price of home ownership as well. And that impacts our clients directly.
In terms of, I know you talked about on the horizon, not anytime soon, but on the horizon would be retirement. How have you worked to set your office up for success for the next generation of attorneys that will take on poverty law?
Well, we've recently been fortunate to be able to expand our staff. We've had some new funding to do domestic violence work, housing work in particular, and we've got what's called the Family-Centered Legal Solutions that works on two-gen poverty approach, looking at the family and the children. So we have some new funding. So we've brought in some new, young, vibrant staff. So that's one way. We're engaging in strategic planning right now to make sure that we are positioned to look down the road a year, 2 years, 5 years, to make sure when I do retire that we're in a very, very strong place. We've built a very strong management team to support the work that our attorneys do, because it's all about the attorneys and helping the clients. I'm
grateful for the work that you do and grateful for the leadership that you've taken. As we close, what would you want people, when you finally leave legal aid, what do you want them to say about Debra House? This is your time to gloat on yourself, Debra. What would you want people to say?
I would want people to say that she lived her life in her professional space and made a difference for others and left Legal Aid of East Tennessee in a strong position moving forward and made an impact on others in the community, on her bar association,
Everywhere. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.